My name's Andrew Eaton, and I'm one of the producers on the movie. Well, we're shooting here today in downtown Oklahoma City, which is doubling up for Fort Worth. And the film's set in 1957, so hence all the period cars. And we're just doing scenes with the main actor, Casey Affleck, walking around the city block and heading into the First National Building down there, which is doubling as a train station in Fort Worth. The movie's called The Killer Inside Me, and it's about a small-town deputy sheriff who starts killing people, and it's like a murder story. It's like he starts killing people and he turns into something of a psychopath, and it's about, I guess it's his journey and then what happens to him in the end. Yeah, this is a book that was written in the 1950s by Jim Thompson. It was a kind of fairly cult novel of its day, and I think pretty sensational when it was published at the time. I think because, to be honest, the rights of the book have been knocking around for quite a few years, and people have been trying to make this movie for, I believe, about 15 years. So I'm glad that we finally got to do it. And I think it's a timeless book. It's a great page-turner of a novel when you read it, and it just seemed to be something that would be quite good to make today. We're filming in Oklahoma City because, as you can see from the building point of view, it's really good for us for 1957. And also, there's a terrific tax incentive here right now, which made it financially very beneficial for us to come here. Also, Thompson is from Oklahoma originally, so it seemed to be quite poetic justice to come back and shoot here. We basically shot 1 week in New Mexico, and we're shooting 6 weeks here in Oklahoma. I don't think we've really faced any obstacles. I mean, we had our lead actor injure his back, which put us out for 3 days. But I have to say, people here have been incredibly accommodating and very open and friendly. And the Film Commission is very well organized, which, from a selfish point of view, for me as a producer, makes my life a lot easier. Well, when you first start making a movie, your main object is to find the right locations, and that helps a lot if a film commission, as they have here, have a good database and good people who can steer you in the right direction. So that was a good starting point for us. And then when it comes to boring organizational things like contact with the police, the city fathers, organizing places to close down streets like today, that can be incredibly difficult. If you want to try and do this in London, you'd have a lot of problems, but that's where the film commission really helps. I think, well, the bottom line is, unfortunately, it's usually about money, and I think if the incentive is high enough, then people will come here. And my understanding is that the incentive has just been increased again to an even higher level. And I know from phone calls I've been getting in the last few weeks that people are beginning to pick up on that. So I think that will definitely bring more movies in. And then it tends to have a cumulative effect. People come in, have a good time, tell other people, and there's a word of mouth, and it builds that way. There were some pretty good crew here. I mean, probably not quite enough to crew up a whole movie, and we brought some people in from Texas, mostly from Austin. But you can't create a decent film talent base overnight. That has to be built over a number of years. And I think the great thing here is there's a lot of people here are very enthusiastic and keen, and there's also some very experienced people here. So I think the combination of those two things, you can build that up. It'll just take some time. My impression of Oklahoma is, well, I grew up in Ireland and I live in London, and it's reminded me coming here that the people are I think when you get away from the bigger cities, people are much more friendly, much more open, much more engaging when the first time you meet them. And I have to say, when you're making a movie, that is a massive advantage, because there's a tendency that people's attitude is they want to help. They want to help you get to do what you want to do. So that's been a real benefit to us. I don't think we'd be so easy to do this in other parts of the United States. The director and I have become particularly fond of Cheever's restaurant, which is a place we tend to go quite a lot. But also there's some great Vietnamese restaurants up on 23rd Street, so we've gone there quite a lot too. Much better value for money. To be honest, I think we've attracted a bigger crowd maybe than I thought we would, because like Casey Affleck's not a hugely well. I mean, his brother is much better known than he is, but I think when we've had Kate Hudson around and Jessica Alba, we've been intended to be in smaller locations, so people haven't even known we've been there. But it's nice when you're doing. I mean, look, ever since I was a little boy, I wanted to work in the movie business, so I get really excited about it just in days like this. So it's nice that people want to come and watch. It's the best feeling ever. It was just reminding me about a film we did in Edinburgh about 10 years ago, where it's a similar situation. We had to close down streets, and you'd be a liar if you didn't say when you were a kid that this would be your absolute dream come true. So it's great fun to see it happen. Well, this has probably been in preparation for like 12 weeks to get to this point. To be honest, all the people that are working on it, for the transport, for the costumes, for the art department, they've been on it for 12 weeks. So hopefully it'll pay off, because you get one tiny detail wrong and then one thing wrong, and it's going to mess up the whole scene. I'm mostly in charge of being blamed when things go wrong. But from the very beginning, it's like trying to get the money together, which was really difficult on this, because we started trying to prep this film when the credit crunch just happened. So that was last October, and we lost the financing twice. So we were supposed to start shooting in January, and here we are, in June, still shooting the movie. So it's been a pretty rocky ride to get to this point. It's the hardest film experience I've ever had to get to this point. So, but then once you get the money together, we kept a cast together for 6 months, which was really unusual. And it's really just an organizational thing. It's really hard to describe all the ups and downs that go along the way to get to this point. But So it makes it all worthwhile when you have a day like this. I don't know that you could say there's an image problem. I suspect that maybe some other states in the US, like Texas, have got a much stronger identity that's known internationally. So I don't know, but I have to say, having spent some time here in Oklahoma, I think there's a strong identity here too. It's just not so well publicized, perhaps, and maybe people need to get that out broader. And I think that will happen through word of mouth. And if you start to make films and we have a good experience here, then that will go across the film industry in a couple of days. And I'd like I said, having people from Universal calling up, insisting on friends of mine to come and shoot their next movie here. So that's already starting to happen. Well, I have to say, most of the financials don't care as long as we're getting the picture shots. But like I said, it's really unusual for me to get called by other producers that I know saying, hey, what's it like? How does the incentive work? The fact that that's happening means that there is something starting to build. I think a lot of the films that we're going to New Mexico, where they've had 10 years of really high level of production, I think will start to shift over and come to Oklahoma. This movie will get released about exactly a year from now, I think at the earliest, and who knows. We don't have a North American distributor yet, so I'm hoping that somebody will buy it for a huge amount of money. We've got another 2.5 weeks to go, maybe slightly more than that, because we had the delay with Casey's back, so we'll be finished around about 1st of July. It wasn't a distraction at all, because as it turns out, it happened just before she started working with us, and then Casey did his back in, so then Jessica had to leave town anyway, because we couldn't shoot with her until the very end. So I think it was probably quite fortuitous that she wasn't in town when that story broke.
How much ribbing was there on set?
We haven't seen her since then, but believe me, there's going to be a lot when she comes back. No, the local media have been great, because people are, we did a film with Angelina Jolie in India, and we basically had 60 paparazzi following us every day, and it got really unpleasant and nasty and quite violent. And so far, you guys nobody's hit me yet. So
no problems with paparazzi coming to town.
No.
Okay.
Actually, we had some problems with paparazzi at the beginning, but they all kept a respectable distance. And as long as we do one for you do one for us. It should be sensible and civilized. It doesn't
So
have to
even
be crazy.
paparazzi are polite?
Even the paparazzi here are polite, yeah.